Are we live?
Hello, I believe we are. Oh my god. Oh dear.
I'm still processing it.
You and me both.
My thoughts are not consolidated at all. I feel like a defragmented hard drive. No, a fragmented hard drive.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
We are too, Cody. We are too.
Oh dear me. How's the stream looking? Because according to OBS, I'm
looking at it now. It's fine. That's how
Is
I
it?
knew that Cody messaged.
Oh, okay. Because for some reason OBS is making me look like I'm my lips out of sync.
Have you got the YouTube dashboard to see all the stuff?
I do, yes.
That's good. Because I'm seeing it from the viewer side.
Yeah, I'm seeing it on here. I didn't put it on. Oh, for some reason, the chat thing on OBS creates a crash, and I thought, you know what, I ain't doing that, so screw it. Right. Oh my God, there's a lot to unpack. Obviously, from the point of view that obviously we have not been, we haven't done this since we did what Church on Ruby Road or whatever.
2023, yeah, that's a long time.
There's a lot to unpack, and there's just so much to cover. I don't even know where to begin. Obviously, I was somewhat braced with this, but honestly, I dismissed that scene. Oh, for reference as well, this is going to contain spoilers.
Yeah.
Spoilers. So if no one's actually managed to watch it, because obviously people are busy and obviously do stuff during Saturday night and whatever, that's fine. If you haven't watched it yet, do not watch this stream at all.
No.
It will be on YouTube later, so you'll be able to pick it up as and when. But anyway, so
Can I just say as well, this will probably be our RTD2 up to now review because we didn't do season 1.
Yeah, so obviously what we'll do, we'll just quickly run through 1 and 2 of most, but obviously we'll try and focus as much as we can primarily on this episode because obviously it was a huge punch in the face and the stomach, which, yeah. So obviously I think primarily seasons 1 and 2 have been a bit of a roller coaster, but I'll be honest, it's not all been for the right reasons. It's not been it's not been a great run at all. You know, I mean, I'll be honest as well, like in regards to the actors, now the actors in particular have done, I would say, a fairly decent job. You know, Ncuti Gatwa in general as the Doctor. I mean, Ncuti Gatwa in general, sound bloke, right? But his iteration of the Doctor has quite a lot to be thought upon. Obviously, every single episode he does like to have a bit of a cry, which is fine.
No, he did tone that down recently.
They did a little bit towards the end. They did. Yes, you are right. You are correct. And you know, the Doctor is allowed to be emotional. Absolutely, 100%. But it kind of took the seriousness away from that character, from the character itself. I mean, we've seen the Doctor when he gets angry, you know, obviously like when he's gone to war for Amy, when, you know, especially during Tennant's run, because he's definitely had one or two moments where he's shown his angry side. And, you know, it kind of shows that he is most certainly a force to be reckoned with. Ncuti Gatwa's Doctor did have a bit of a peak in the Interstellar Song Contest when he did have that sort of rage. I didn't think it was the strongest. It didn't really kind of show that part of him, but it weren't the worst. It was kind of better. It was kind of more refreshing to see that different side of the Doctor, which was quite nice to see. Now, in general, season 1, I only found one good episode out of that, and that was 73 Yards. And that didn't have the Doctor in it.
I need to pull the list of the episodes up.
That's the only episode name I remember. Space Babies.
See, look, every time you type a series or a season, it comes up with the classic stuff. That's not
season
what we
1,
want.
season 2. I mean, this is season 2.
Hold on, let me...
Technically season 15. Technically season 100 and something if you bolt it on the top of the.
Okay,
That's
so
new.
I did kind of like Boom because that was Stephen Moffat's episode. That was with, the actor.
Oh, that was that. Yeah,
Monday.
yeah.
I liked all right. I liked Boom all right. I thought it was a good concept.
Yes,
73
absolutely.
yards is really good. Dot
Um,
and Bubble.
no. Sorry, no. Dot
mm,
and Bubble infuriated me.
Rogue.
Oh yes, hello, Bob. Bob Bobson. Yes, we're definitely coming to that. We're taking a moment.
Yeah.
We're
So,
taking a moment to climatize to that.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then after Rogue was The Legend of Ruby Sunday and Empire of Death.
Yeah. So
Yeah, no, season 1 not as memorable. Well, I can remember it, but yeah. Boom and 73 yards are the only two that I really enjoyed. And with
yeah,
this
I agree.
season, Lux,
Lux was amazing. But the thing is with Lux is that what really blew that out of the water was obviously the character of Lux and also Alan Cummings. His vocal performance was exceptional.
Alan
I love that
Cumming.
bloke anyway. He's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, he doesn't have an S on the end. But Alan
Oh,
Cummings
Cummings,
episode.
sorry. I
Yeah.
do beg your pardon. That was absolutely amazing. I loved that. Oh, hi, Katie. Hello. John, for context, that's my cousin.
Oh, hello.
Hello. So yeah, Alan Cumming was good as Lux.
I loved the
enjoyed
Lux episode. I really did enjoy it. I thought it
Lux
was
was
really
great.
well written. It was really well executed, and
Yeah.
great idea. I thought, yeah, it was really well. And the episode right after it as well.
The Well
I
was great.
genuinely felt like
I
the jump
thought,
scares worked as well.
yeah,
I
it
was
did.
like,
And
yeah.
I'm happy they didn't reveal the full face of the Midnight Creature because
Mhm.
obviously we still have that kind of mysterious
You can
vibe
just
to it.
about see it. Like there is
There
a scene
was
where you can stop it, pause it, add
like a
the
shadow.
exposure, you will see it. And in the Doctor Who Unleashed as well, they did reveal the costume, which effectively means we know what it looks like. But it was said that apparently that was done on purpose for the actors, and it wasn't to be taken
Thanks,
as
Katie.
the actual shape of the monster. So
Yes, absolutely. And that was quite good. I'm glad they kind of kept that mysterious vibe to it, at least to a degree. So I mean, overall, that's I mean, the episodes that we enjoyed, that's mainly it. The rest of the season was a bit kind of away. It kind of, I don't know. I mean, my memory of some of the episodes was just faded, if I'm honest. The Conrad episode where Ruby came back, I hate that bloke so much, and I don't use hate that much when it comes to stuff like this. But oh my god, that was infuriating. That was really infuriating.
can I just say, those types of people, like Conrad, right, are quite rare. It's very rare to get someone exactly like Conrad, and I don't like that. And I've got to be careful here, but I don't like that RTD is pushing, or at least it seems like he's pushing that is someone that you will meet, nowadays. But it isn't. That isn't what they're like. If you meet someone like that, they will most likely be either in jail because they've done something as what you saw in the show, or
Absolutely.
or someone you just shun. It's not.
You wouldn't take no notice. You just ignore it.
It's just, oh god, there he goes again. Don't worry about him. Let him go
I
home.
mean, they are like a rare type of people, and you take no notice of those kind of people
That
because
kind of extremity
they're not
doesn't
worth
happen
your mind powers at all. So,
no.
but I mean, that's where it kind of ended for me. And of course, obviously, we had the last two episodes, and obviously in what was it, Wish World, which was a confusing episode from the get go.
Can I just say this finale has been really convoluted. The way it's been written has made me. I had to rewind this episode slightly because I missed what they were saying. They were going that fast. I was like, "What the hell is?" The writing is just all over the shop. And what is it with? Why was Susan brought into things only for her not to be mentioned in this episode?
She could have seriously been. I actually thought because I saw the was it a confidential thingy, Bob? You know the
Doctor Unleashed.
Unleashed. You know, Russell was saying about how we got all the people in the crew to sign NDAs,
So it's your secret, yeah.
and she just popped up as a flipping, what was it, like an hallucination or something?
Well, no, I guess she's sending a message across the stars because apparently, that's a thing now, which is fine. But again, like, okay, so that was a hint then for next season. Okay, fine. But look, right, we had Rani, we had Susan, we had obviously the Pantheon that they're currently doing. We had Omega. We had.
Oh God, Omega, yeah.
I mean, we've got all of these branches of storyline, right? And it's like RTD. And I heard someone say this on YouTube a week or so ago. It's like RTD's writing like a fan, and only like a fan, not like his old writing style, not like an actual writer who knows exactly how things should fit. It really does feel like he's using his skills in a silly way. It's just spurting out fan fiction. Oh, wouldn't it be great if we had Susan? Oh, wouldn't it be great if we brought Rani back? Oh, wouldn't it be great if then she brought Omega back? And oh my God, it's like one after the other. It's like, whoa, stick on one storyline, mate.
Yeah, it's like before, when he used to do the series arcs, with the Master, for example. Those mysterious people that kept coming to Martha's mother's house. We didn't know who they were. Obviously, you got all the Vote Saxon signs up and everything. The little hints here and there. What does that mean hidden in the background? He dragged it on nice and slowly to an absolutely fantastic finale at the end. Now, as you say, he's just been throwing bits in here and there, letting other writers kind of go on their own, which is fine. But at the end of the day, you are the lead writer, therefore there should be that sense of continuity, good continuity, which in this, I'll be honest, there wasn't. Obviously, you had Mrs. Flood popping up every now and again, but that meant nothing, if I'm perfectly honest.
To be honest, I don't think setup has been done correctly this season.
No.
I really do believe that there's been a lot of issues with setup this season. I mean, the stuff that happened in Wishworld was not set up correctly.
They were in Torchwood as well. They were.
I don't know.
Hi, John Smith. Great to have you with us. Yeah, it's been crazy. Now, just on one thing that you brought up as well, which is a major disappointment, in my opinion. The Pantheon.
They are just toys, aren't they?
They were set up to be something incredibly powerful, right? As the Doctor also stated in Sarah Jane Adventures, in The Wedding of Sarah Jane Smith, in part 2, the Trickster, for example, is part of the Pantheon Discord. Creatures from beyond the universe itself, right? Being beyond the universe, you are essentially bigger than a Time Lord, because Time Lords are essentially, even though they're Time Lords, they are still born of this universe, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Pantheon gods, they're not from the universe. They're beyond. Their powers are existential. They are incredible. They are beyond reckoning.
They can't be destroyed. They can only be contained or blocked from doing like the toy maker was.
And the tricks that keep coming back, right? Yeah. They
are literal gods, effectively.
But they were used as little mini puppets.
Yeah.
Nothing more. Right? The only one that I think even had a sense of sinister feel to it was Lux. Right? Sutek was just, I don't know, he was just there.
I didn't know Sutek was part of the Pantheon. Was he originally part of the Pantheon, or am I?
Well, he weren't, I don't think. Well, technically, neither was the Toy Maker. I think the Pantheon, they're kind of like a club in a way.
No, I'm sure Toy Maker was. Hold on, let's just have a little bit of research, shall we? Oh gosh, I love it when they just spew text on the screen. I want to know the list of people, please. List of.
I know, it's absolutely crazy. By the way, can you hear me? Hear you through me? I've got that mixed up. I just realised I can hear you through my speakers. I'm just making sure my microphone isn't picking you up.
Oh no, I can't. Fine.
Oh, that's good.
So the Toy Maker, the Trickster, Maestro, Reprobate, Mara, threefold deity of the malice and mischief and misery, gods of skin and shame and secrets, Incenser, Doubt, Dread, Lux Imperator, Krampus, the Scream, Sommelier, and Desiderium. are all Pantheon of Discord, which means that. Oh, no. Sorry. Sutek is their leader. He got dragged through a time vortex and scattered. I mean, do you know, to be honest, the others should be running away. Luke should never have even bothered. He should have gone, "Oh God, it's you," and just dropped. You know what
I know.
I
I mean, let's be honest. The toy maker had more of a chance at beating the Doctor than Sutek did. And
yeah,
Sutek
the
was
toy maker
leader.
almost did. I mean, the toy maker killed him effectively, apart from obviously the regeneration. Well, by generation.
Yeah, which was
Yeah.
which in itself has kind of been kind of
That's a topic.
yeah.
Mhm.
But yeah, the Pantheon gods were wasted.
Yeah.
I thought that this was going to be. I mean, okay, I'm probably going to sound ridiculous, but I honestly thought we were going to have the Trickster as the crashing finale. I honestly thought the Trickster was going to come back as that. It sounds daft, I know, but I love that guy. By the way, the Trickster is amazing. I love the Trickster so much. But he didn't. And John, I think you actually said this the other day, actually, and you were damn right. Omega is not really the Omega that we knew.
Yeah, so I should preface it. So I am someone who loves looking at leaks. I know it's silly because if it's something you're looking forward to, why would you want to leak it for yourself? But I just like knowing things. I'm a nosy person. And anyway, so I looked up the leaks, and there was a leaker called Andrew that was all over Reddit, all over Gallifrey. You might have seen, if any one of you have watched the YouTube videos on this, you will have heard that name. He got every single leak correct, which leads me to believe that it was someone on the team who knew all the details, or at least no. Apparently, he knew someone else who was on the team, and then got told all the details. Anyway, every single one of his leaks, including the big one at the end, which we haven't mentioned yet, although the comments have, was correct and in there, right? And yeah.
So Andrew, sir, you have done me a bit of a favor and I salute you for that, because you've helped me probably get through certain things quicker than what I would have been able to do. So
I will say though that Andrew, from what if I remember, the leak said Omega had a big claw. That's all the leak said. That Omega was a big CGI monster. That was correct, and he had a big claw. I think that one was a bit skewed. Bearing in mind, Andrew got this information from somewhere else, so I guess he got a bit. Yeah, but he did have a big claw, but he had quite a few.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was proven though that he was once again another CGI monster. But here's the rub. We're talking about Omega here, right? Omega, right? Really big character, right? Big as the Master, right? Why was he wasted? Why was he on screen for about 5 seconds and then just bye?
Yep.
What was the point?
Yeah. You built up Omega in the last episode, the one before this one, right? And we thought, damn, we are going to be in for some weird timey-wimey balami, right? No. I mean, he gobbled up Rania, which was quite funny to see. But which also was kind of baffling as well, because even as Mel put it, right? The Rania, she's an incredible time lady rather, an incredible scientist, right? Who uses the universe as her own laboratory. The universe is an experiment to her, right? You don't think she would have been at least prepared by the fact that that she would have expected Omega to double cross her, or do something of that extent. She's meant to be clever, right? She must have had she should have been prepared for this, but no. Instead, Omega gobble 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 gobble. There you go, gone. And Mrs. Flood Rania, whoop, bye, gone. Right.
There's so many issues with this season, and so many issues with this finale. And I will say I did like how the Rania was written in this finale episode, because I did feel like it wasn't the Master in this episode. Last episode in Wishworld, I did feel like they were trying to push the Rania as some sort of masterish type figure. But this episode, they wrote her where people weren't as scared of her. So you had her talking to the Doctor, and then everybody else in the unit HQ behind him. Yeah, that whole scene I thought was written quite well. I quite liked how they weren't as scared of her. She seemed like another doctor, just one that was amoral, standing there. And I liked that because I thought, okay, good. They're separating the idea that she's not the master, that they aren't as scared of her as they would be if the master was there because he's army. So I thought that was written quite well. I didn't pick up that, Cody, about the whole Two Ronnies reference. I heard her make the joke, but I didn't remember that it was a Two Ronnies quote. But now that you've said that, but I don't know.
Honestly, it's like you said previously, John, as well. This whole thing has been an absolute mess. It's all just been all bits have been thrown in, and Tony Fish, actually, good to see you as well. Benmo, I do apologise if I have pronounced your name incorrectly. Yes, we are also shaking badly in anger from this as well. Well, I think I'm shaking more in regards to just pure.
I'm up and down with Doctor now. I mean, I've gone through anger. I've gone through with fine, perfectly fine, and then anger again, and then back to what the hell was that about, and then back to anger, and then what's that? So I'm all over the shop. So if I don't seem like I'm seething, it's because I've kind of got over it now, and I'll come back. I'll be angry again. Don't worry. I'll probably come off this stream later and go, wait a second.
Tony, you've just made me remember something, actually. Because it's a good point you made there. Do you remember when? So obviously we had Anita from the Time Hotel come back, right? Who actually was quite nice to see. Oddly enough, even though I didn't like Joy to the World, I didn't like that Christmas special, but seeing Anita again, I actually quite liked her coming back. So
yes, it's nice. That was a good throwback, I thought.
Anita was trying to help the Doctor when she brought him back to their home, and she was trying to explain the fact that obviously Poppy, their daughter, which we'll get to again in a second, which also confused the hell out of me. But anyway, she was trying to explain how obviously Poppy wasn't real, that she was brought in by Conrad's wish. And the Doctor just turns around and goes, "How dare you? How dare you? Or don't you dare?" or something like that. He got really angry.
Because of the idea of something about the kid not being real or something?
Not being real, being brought into a wish.
And he immediately gets defensive. It's like, whoa.
Calm down.
Yeah, it's like, why are you so emotional about her right now? What is it? Is it just because she's a child? I don't understand his emotions in this season. Have you noticed?
But
I mean, he's done it twice now, because I'm sure he did this on another episode, and I forgot which one it was.
I can't remember. No, I haven't asked me to remember.
I've got the picture in my head. Just give me a sec to remember it. Okay. What did he say? I remember that. There was some angry moment. Oh, no. Oh, it's gone again. It was right there.
Good luck remembering that.
Why did he get angry? He got angry about something, and I forgot what it was. Anyway, so he's been written like this, where he'll get like really angry about something that doesn't make sense.
Reason.
Why are you angry for? There's nothing to be. No need for that. I'm sure it was it the Interstellar Song Contest, or was it something else? No, not that one. It was something else. What was it? Oh God, that's going to annoy me. Anyway, so he's been written like that.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate that I can't remember. That's going to bug you. Carry on, Jack. I'm just going to search it up.
But also, as Tony said as well, the Doctor and Belinda were quite mean to Ruby at the very end, because Ruby was saying, "Where's Poppy? Poppy's gone."
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Like she was annoying to them. Yeah.
And Belinda goes that she's quite offended by the fact that she's talking about something
that was it.
Things that exist but doesn't exist, or something like that. I don't know.
I remember. I remember now. It was the story in the engine. The Doctor gets really angry at the original owner of the barber shop, saying that he let him down because we're entering this trap. And it's like, Doctor,
yes,
you walked into the trap. He didn't say, "Hey, Doctor, come on in." No, you walked into a trap, and he's the victim, right? He didn't intend for this. You can see that. Why are you angry at him? Oh, but this was my safe space. Oh no, your safe space has got temporarily hijacked. You're going to fix it. Why are you angry at him? It didn't make any sense to me. I don't understand why you shouted at him. And I literally remember watching that going, what are you doing? I remember shouting at the screen, like, what are you doing? Why is this written like this?
It was confusing.
The Doctor would never react like that.
I didn't quite understand it myself. I really didn't.
Sorry if I'm being a bit too low, guys. I never know what the sensitivity of this mic is. It's very sensitive. I could
I mean, I
literally
don't know about
whisper.
mine. And bear in mind, this microphone of mine is fairly cheap. So, but yeah, so yeah, Tony, you're correct. I mean, I don't know why the Doctor and Bluna got so offended by that. Obviously, you could tell that Ruby was very flustered, very upset by the fact. So the Doctor should have realised that, okay, something's not right here. You know, Ruby wouldn't act like this, you know, if there was no reason for it. But then all of a sudden, they just seem to kind of remember, but don't.
All of a sudden, it was fine. Yeah.
So the Doctor then carries off, obliterates the TARDIS.
I don't understand that was about because it was fine at the end.
Exactly.
What was that about? What was he
don't
doing?
understand.
Why was that unexplained? What?
By the way,
Okay.
good visual effects though.
Oh no, don't, yeah, the graphics are fine, but we don't talk about the graphics. That's Disney money. That we don't worry about
That's
that.
Disney money.
It's the writing that's important, Jack.
He destroyed the TARDIS. By the way, poor TARDIS. I feel sorry for the TARDIS, to be perfectly honest. Right? And he obviously used his regeneration energy to destroy the TARDIS and then create a reality.
Well, I think he used his regeneration energy to power the TARDIS or do something
it's
with
like
it to
doing
help
an
it
overload of
to
sorts.
break reality, and that was that whole cracking glass effect with the. Again, right. Someone else made this point in a YouTube video. It's like it was written for 10-year-olds for the people who've been watching the show for 50 years.
Mhm.
It felt like that again. It feels like a Disney thing where it's like, look what we're doing. We're breaking reality. Here's some glass shattering on the screen. Back in the old days, we just flash the screen white and show a different reality. But no, they had to do the whole cracking glass effect. And it just, look, I'm fine with it. It's fine. But
cheap.
It does. It feels like it's like, look what we're doing. It's like trying to explain it to children. Look what we're doing. We're breaking reality. Did you get it? Did you get it yet? And the Doctor used to do that in season 1. Did you get it? Did you get it? Did you get it, Jack? That's happened.
And by the way, I mean, kids aren't that stupid, if I'm perfectly honest. You know, they're not. You know, they do pick up a lot of things. So, Russell, give them a bit more credit where it's due.
If you compare RTD2 to RTD1,
so different.
Completely. It's like RTD1 is for adults. RTD2 is for children.
So different.
Completely.
So different. And not only that, but the connection between like Doctor Who, Torchwood, and Sarah Jane Adventures, right, was really targeted for, you know, even younger kids.
Yeah.
At the time it was aired, I believe I was in like year 11, I think, or year 10 or something. So I was like in my teens, so fairly older, but I still had a connection with it because obviously the universe that it revolves around. So, and because of the way that was written, it seemed to blend quite well.
Well, I mean, granted, you can watch cartoons as an adult because you know what it's written for, so
like
you can look over that.
Yeah. For nostalgia, that's fine.
In this case, Doctor Who isn't written. Doctor Who is supposed to cater for most, if not all, ages.
Yeah.
But it feels like it's now being written just for children, and that adults are watching it.
Also,
it's like an extension. And that's not right.
Yeah, no, you are correct. And this, while I remember this one little bit, sorry to cut in there. The one bit I was a bit shocked about, and this might be a very minor thing, but it's just popped into my head. The Rani mentioned the Doctor being with the humans as like a form of fetish.
Yeah, I remember that word being used.
Like, whoa, Russell.
I know, using that word when you're writing it for 10-year-olds. I mean,
you know what I mean?
No. I know.
Obviously, I just said that obviously kids aren't stupid and they would understand, but I didn't mean that. I didn't mean that far.
Yeah, right. I know. It's just a weird
choice.
Look, I don't know. It doesn't do any good for his image, really, does it?
Not really. No.
I don't know. There's so many bad choices this season. Obviously,
the 13th Doctor did return. She returned, which was not actually that bad, to be fair.
I was dreading that because, again, that was in the leaks. I was dreading that, and then it happened. I was like, oh, God. But I did say to Jack during the episode, I sent him a quick message. I actually thought Jodie was written a lot better than Chibnall wrote her. And she felt like a good Doctor. Like like I could see that it was still her. She was still acting the same way she used to act, but what she was saying, what she was doing, it felt correct. So I was like, okay, so RTD's wrote her quite well there. So I was pleased about that. I was accepting of that at the time. If only we'd had that during series 11, 12, and 13, but no, we didn't. So,
and then of course, we get to that moment.
Yes, the end, the very end, the last scene. The beautiful, stupid last scene. Which, by the way, was also leaked, but Andrew made very careful not to mention her name. But it was very heavily hinted at, and everyone was suspecting. It was all over Reddit speculated, and we were all like, "No, please don't do that. There's no need for you to do that."
There's
and
no
he did it.
reason.
He did it.
He
He actually did it. He did it, and it's a joke, Jack.
It's an absolute joke, and to be honest, I am shocked to the core for a multitude of reasons. One, primarily, being that. Well, I don't know whether you guys have seen the video that I've seen also. It was like last year, I think, or a couple of years ago. Billy and Christopher Eccleston were doing this panel, and fans in the audience were asking Chris what it would take for him to come back to Doctor Who. And Chris blatantly said, clearly said, I will come back so long as Russell T Davies, Julie Gardner, and Phil Collinson are sacked.
Jane Tranter.
Oh, Jane Tranter, sorry. There was a fourth. Right? So, obviously, and Chris always put the point forward that, it wasn't always about RTD and the producers who made the show what it was when it came back in 2005. It was Chris and Billy, right? They put the work in and the effort to make the show what it was. And Chris was annoyed that the producers didn't see that. The BBC thought, this is going to be a half hack. You know what? Let's just, forget about it. It's not going to be a thing. But then when it did become a thing, the producers were like, oh, yeah, we did that. Yeah, we're the ones who were behind all this to begin with. Now, because of this, I always thought that Chris and Billy had that sort of chemistry, that sort of close relationship. So I never, in a million years, would have thought that Billy would have agreed to do this.
Well, I will. Okay, so I need to address what Cody's been saying. I'm sorry, Cody. I know you've been saying this quite a few times.
Oh, yeah, I haven't.
Sorry. So yeah, no, she wasn't introduced as the Doctor in the credits. She was just introducing Billie Piper.
Oh, yes.
I think the concern at the moment, Cody, is that obviously we saw the Doctor regenerate into her, and she was, from what I could gather, different accent. Not the Cockney, was it Cockney? Yeah, that Rose Tyler had. So it was her posh accent. I think I need to rewatch it. So that would imply to me that it is the Doctor, but you're right, it hasn't been stated. It also was stated in the leaks. It also has been stated in the leaks that this could be, as Paul has said, a stunt actor, as in this is the 16th Doctor, but we might not really see much of her.
Right.
It might be that Doctor Who goes on a temporary hiatus, which we know is probably going to happen anyway, because we don't have the Disney Plus acceptance deal yet. They need to know that before starting the next series. And so it might be that there's a bit of a time jump or something, and then we get the 17th when they return, and then Billy just doesn't really show up much. Yeah. We don't really know what's going to happen yet there. It's still all in the air. We don't know what's going to happen. It might even be explained away off camera. I don't know. But the point being is, at the moment, from what we know, Billie Piper's the next Doctor. And if that is the truth, stupidest decision ever. Now, I know we've had someone who was in Doctor Who before become the Doctor, Peter Capaldi, but this is Rose Tyler's character. Rose Tyler's actor that we're talking about here.
Yeah, exactly.
Why would he become someone he was in love with? What is going on? I don't understand. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I don't quite get it either.
I don't get it.
Completely shocked. Obviously, like you say, Peter Capaldi came in, which is perfectly fine. To be honest, I was actually shocked myself when Peter Capaldi came in. I was like, really? They're going to do this. But then he performed and he was great. But the thing is with Rose Tyler, because Billie Piper hasn't just come back as Rose Tyler either. She's come back as Bad Wolf too. You know, the moment psychic thingy bob
Mhm.
from the 50th. So
Yeah, the moment.
the moment, yeah. So her character is just it's complex already. So bringing her in as the Doctor just makes no sense. It's just ridiculous in every sense of the word.
Just to answer you, Paul. There, not answer. To add on to what you're saying there, Paul, about the image. Yeah, I remember talking to Jack about that. The image. Didn't I send you a picture of that, Jack? Was it you I sent that
The
to?
party.
Yes. That's been cut, so that didn't happen. So that must have been the other alternative ending. So this was the alternative ending because Shooty, as you said, left. Which we think there's a speculation is that Shooty left because of the waiting game, because we didn't know what's going to go on with Disney, so there was a massive hiatus, and we know that Shooty wants to bugger off to America. Apparently his goals are to go into Hollywood, which is fine, wonderful, great.
You know, I wish him best of luck with that.
He's got the skill set, so that's why he's left, so that someone else can do the waiting for them, and maybe that's why Billy's took over. Because don't worry, I won't be long for the Doctor. I'll pop in for a sec. Maybe that's what's happening. I don't know. Yeah. It really is but from our perspective, from the viewer's perspective, right? This seems bloody stupid. It doesn't make any sense. I would never make this decision if I was RTD. I would never have gone, hey, Billy, you know how you played a companion for, was it 2 years? Yeah. Would you like to come back as the Doctor? Oh my God, that's a great idea. Yeah, let's just do more fan fiction, shall we? Let's go ahead and write that one in. Oh, look at that. They'll love this.
Does don't Chris and Billy do stuff for Big Finish as well?
Yes.
As
I think so, or I don't know whether she's done it recently, but she definitely did it with Rose Tyler.
That's weird. That's even weirder. That's even stranger. I don't understand that. Oh, that is just. Oh my God, that is beyond belief. But the thing is, right, and this is the one thing I've been mentioning before. I
agree with you, Cody.
Yeah. The thing is, as well, is if the show, obviously, because the show hasn't been doing good. It hasn't been doing good at all. Right?
Oh, no, the viewing figures.
Yeah. And the thing is, right, Disney is a business at the end of the day. Right? If they saw that Doctor Who was going to be pretty good for them, lucrative in money, they would have gone, okay, guys, your contract's over with, but we've seen the figures, we've seen the stats, it's going good. Would you be interested in renewing the contract again for the third season? Right, there is no way Disney would let that kind of money slip through their hands.
Hello, Slade. Long time no speak. And yes, she did do that. Maybe that's connected.
So like kind of like taking a snapshot of what could have been and yeah, who knows. But yeah, it's been quite the episode. Quite the 2 seasons, if I'm honest. So yeah, it has been up and down all the way around. And as Maximus said, I mean, obviously we don't know the state of the show now, do we? So is it possible that the show could now be cancelled and obviously brought back 10 years down the line?
I will say, if we go along the lines that RTD is doing fan fiction, right? I, as a fan of Doctor Who, am quite interested to see how Billy plays the Doctor, if we get to see that. I'd like to see how she could do it. I know she's a fantastic actor. I've seen her do a little bit of I Hate Susie. And yeah, I'm interested. How will she do it? I mean, apparently her introduction line there is, oh, hello, which is sweet, nice, like it. Yeah, I'm interested, but I just don't think it's correct. I don't think it's what should have happened. I don't know. It's just a silly creative choice. I do think RTD is having a bit of a crisis, and I think he needs to put the pen down and just let someone else who's a little bit more down to earth take over.
Yeah, just a little bit.
It's but, like, yeah. As at this point as well, I do think he's putting his two fingers up at the fans that aren't liking the current stuff as well. I think he's doing a lot of that. We saw a little bit of that in Lux.
But the thing is, right, and obviously I know people say this before as well. Obviously, if you don't like it, then why are you watching it? Which is true. You know, like for example, I mean, this is completely separate, but as you can probably tell, I am a huge fan of The Witcher. I love The Witcher in every sense of the word. The books, the games, amazing. The Netflix show, no, it was going good, but then it fell off a really big cliff and just crushed itself. Right. I didn't continue watching that because I didn't like it. But Doctor Who is something more sacred. Not only that, because you know my parents have watched it, my family have watched it, my grandparents have seen it. Right, Doctor Who has practically lived through what, say, 3-4 generations of families. It's got a big growing onto it. You know, it's got a big following. Sorry, you know it holds a special place in people's hearts. And for me personally, even though I 100% do not like the direction it has gone down over the last, 5-6 years, maybe a bit more than that, I've always come back. I've always said, watching this, I'm done. But then I'll come back because there's a sense of curiosity.
I have a fear of missing out problem as well.
I suppose there is that as well.
I always watch, and this is sad to say, right? But I always watch these episodes going, what's he going to mess up now?
I do admit watching them, especially like season 1 and 2, has felt like a chore.
It has, but I can't put it down. Just like you say, I have a fear of missing out problem. If I stop watching now and then I leave it for like a season or 2 or 3, and then I one day decide to come back to it, well, if I like it, I'm going to want to make sure I know what happened, and then I've got to go through the whole thing. And I don't like binge watching shows. I really don't.
Especially if someone brings up something and I haven't seen it, I'll be like, "What do you mean?" But now I have to go and see.
And what if something good happens and I read about it on X or Facebook or whatever, and then I go, "What? I never saw that," and now I'm going to go back and watch it. So
yeah, and obviously we don't want to comment about something we don't know about, because obviously we want to get a context and be completely wrong, which obviously is fine.
So I've got to keep watching it, as much as some of it is torture.
Yeah, you know. So, you know, there were some little small decent bits, like we said in season 2, with 2 episodes in particular. But it's just been an absolute roller coaster in not a good way. And I do think Doctor Who needs to take a little break.
Yeah. And they need to stop putting reality in Doctor Who as well. We are watching Doctor Who for escapism, RTD. Look, I understand the point, but you need to tone that down a bit, right? Let the message be a little bit more like an undertone, like it used to be in RTD1. You did it brilliantly back then. Come on.
You did.
Because that is an off-put. Even for some people who agree, it's an off-put. You're preaching to the choir, mate, and it's not sounding well. So there's so many things I'd fix and change and chop up. I mean, some episodes you don't even need to delete them. It's what is, I don't know. I don't know. It just needs, the whole thing needs a revamp. But they won't do it. They'll just keep peddling this because it's a money-making machine. And even if Disney drop it, as the BBC already said, they'll just fund it themselves. We'll go back to a low-budget show, which is fine.
Right?
which is no, it's fine because it'll force them to focus more on the writing. Fine.
True.
Good.
Very true.
Except you've still got RTD in the helm. So he's still going to do what he's currently doing, just with a lower budget, which will make it look even more terrible.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just, I don't know. It's just the whole thing is just wrong.
£20 an episode from C there. Yeah.
Yeah.
£20 an episode from the BBC.
Also, what Nicole said earlier as well, I agree. It did feel self-indulgent from RTD. The show, the season, the show.
What's that?
Earlier, Nicole Million said this finale just felt so self-indulgent, even for RTD. And no, Billy, no.
Oh yes, yeah. I mean, there's just a multitude of things wrong with it. Multitudes. Although I do feel like now that we've talked about this, I have somewhat calmed down. I mean, look, at the end of the day, it is just a show, right? It is just a show, and that's that. I guess it was just a bit of a shock to the core, really, that this even happened in the first place. Honestly, I never, ever in a million years would have seen Billie Piper pop up. Well, granted, I probably would have, good to see her in Doctor Who in general, but from a post regeneration, eh? you know.
I don't understand. Sorry, ignore what I was just about to say.
Okay.
See, the boss. I think I know what you mean by a classic villain because you talk about that big computer disc thing, that the computer. I don't think, I could be wrong, but I don't think that's what they're referring to. It might be, in which case I'm actually interested about the boss because I did watch a few clips from that episode of classic Doctor Who and it was rather good. I like that villain.
I'll admit, I actually don't know what you're referring to.
I will send you a link, Jack. You can have a little look. See, there you go.
I do admit, I because ever since the whole Timeless Children thing, I actually boxed up all my Classic Who DVDs I started collecting back in 2007, I believe it was. I started collecting them all. One of the classic villains. So there's only like a few that I've seen, and now that the classics are all on iPlayer, I should probably go through some of those. I could do with a bit of nostalgia if I'm honest. I could do with some good nostalgia, don't you think?
Yes.
But
Well, I've been having to watch classic episodes of Doctor Who anyway because I didn't know properly about Omega, so I had to have a quick look through.
I'm an idiot. Okay, yes, I now know who the boss is. Who you're referring to?
Well, he wasn't called the boss; it was just called Boss. But
that picture on the link that you sent me, I recognize that. I
Yeah.
recognize it. Yeah. Okay. I kind of know what you're referring to. So, and yeah, Omega turned into a cartoon monster. You're right,
Yeah.
Seeking. And look, right, as Seeking said, it took 3 doctors essentially to defeat Omega, and they didn't even defeat him technically, right? They managed to banish him to a degree of sorts. So the Doctor just grabbed the Vindicator, shot, which by the way I had no idea was going to be even a weapon. Got the Vindicator and just basically pushed him back. Closed the door. Bye, I guess.
I don't know. It felt like a rushed way to get rid of Omega so that they could focus on the Poppy storyline.
Which, I'll be honest, was confusing as hell.
Sorry, hang on a second. So you've brought back the Rania, you've brought back Omega, you've had a hint at Susan, you've done all of this setup only to go, get back in your box, Omega. We're focusing on the child.
Yeah. And
just, what are you doing?
When the Doctor brought up Poppy and said that, because he's talking at the very end to Ruby.
The budget ran out, yeah.
About Poppy being from the Space Babies being grown up, and I'm thinking, wait, who are you referring to? It took me a while to remember that episode, right? And I thought, oh yeah, you are correct. That kid is from well, I think so anyway. I don't know. I feel like most babies are the same. Well, I don't even recognise half of them, so I don't know whether they came from.
No, it was from the first episode of season 1, wasn't it? Series 14, Space Babies. The first Ruby episode after Church of Ruby Road. Because Church of Ruby Road was a Christmas special. Then the first episode of season 1 was Space Babies. When they were on the ship,
hang on,
they had all the babies.
Yeah. Sorry, for some reason I was thinking of something else. Right, I now know what you mean. Right, so wait, so that means Poppy was in Space Babies then as one of the babies.
She was the captain. It was Captain Poppy. Yeah, she was the captain.
Yeah.
Poppy was.
Work.
I don't know. Poppy was the captain of the ship that had the boogie monster on it. That was the first myth that we saw, other than the goblins. No, sorry, it was the second myth that we saw, I think. And then we never saw her again until this season, where she's been hinted at where we saw her in the story in the engine, in the alleyway, and then finally in the Wish World as their child.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll admit, when they started doing that collage of scenes where Belinda was saying, "I have to return home to Poppy," I
No,
couldn't
none of that
remember.
happened.
Oh, right. So it's part of the reality shift.
Yes.
It's okay. I thought I was going mad, but then because my attention span, I will admit, I will raise my hand and say that my attention span for these episodes have not been fantastic. Right? I actually thought I had legitimately forgot those bits. So, but now that I realise, obviously, the reality has shifted from when the Doctor did the whole thing with the TARDIS and his regeneration cycle, so it makes sense, sort of. But yeah, and it's true that someone did actually mention about seeking again. Yeah, you mentioned obviously the Doctor can regenerate into faces from his past, as we know from Tom Baker from the 50th. He did say that you might find yourself revisiting a few faces, but some of the old favourites. I just wouldn't have
Yes.
thought Billy was going to be one of them.
I don't know.
Rose Tyler, rather.
But to me, it feels like RTD's at the bottom of the barrel and doesn't know what to write. So now he's looking at all the past things and going, I'll write about that, I'll write about that, I'll write about that. I do think that RTD's done a good thing in this era, shall we say. He has tried, from at least what I've gathered, he's tried to tie up a few loose ends that Chibnall put in. As you all know, guys, we were very iffy about the Timeless Children plotline, as most, I would assume, people were. But RTD seems to have at least corrected bits of it to make it make a little bit more sense. He said that the toy maker, he wrote the line from the toy maker saying that he messed with the Doctor's history, made a jigsaw out of his history, which I thought was an interesting little hint that maybe it was a toy maker that did the whole Timeless Child idea, changed reality to make that a thing. Okay, fine. I suppose that was a bit of a hacky way, but it was an interesting way to get out of that problem that Chibnall created. Because now we can say, okay, that makes sense now why it's canon. Although they can never bring back River Song because her timeline's messed up. She was supposed to be Melody Pond was supposed to be a Time Lord born from the TARDIS. That's not possible if the toy maker made it so that he's now the Timeless Child and it was him, and then the Time Lords made it from their own. That's all broken now, so they can never bring back River Song back.
Regeneration essentially comes from the Doctor. It never came from the Time Vortex.
Exactly.
Time Vortex came after. Well, actually, yeah, it came after the Doctor because the Doctor was the seed of Gallifrey itself.
But yeah, because remember the Doctor was the host of Regeneration that Tecteun then found and made other Shibogans become Gallifreyans and Time Lords from that. But the Time Lord wasn't created until Omega came along and discovered time travel. So those two things are separated. So how on earth does the Time Vortex create River to a Time Lord, which then means she has regeneration? No, that whole thing now is invalid. Yeah. It's impossible to explain with the current information we have. So that's still broken. He can never bring back River Song unless he tries to rewrite again. How that works, good luck.
Yeah, I just. That's a good, interesting thing that Seiki mentioned. Just going back up in the chats a little bit because we're going off on a tangent, loads of tangents. That's what this show has been doing to us.
It's good.
Seiki actually said that Colin Baker was a character on Gallifrey before Fifth regenerated into him. That's interesting to know. I never knew that.
Yes. Yes, it was on. Yeah. Oh, hang on. I'll see if I can get the character. I forgot his name.
Captain should have been Rupert Grint. That might have been interesting, actually, seeing Rupert Grint regenerate.
Doctor Who.
Yeah, I agree, Gary.
Oh, that was something else. Ignore me. Let's see if I can go back in time. There it is. Going back in time. Yeah, he was Commander Maxil before he became the Doctor.
Oh, bloody hell.
He was one of the guards.
No idea. That's pretty cool, though.
Yeah, he was the commander and he was a Castellan.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. I never knew that. It's good to know these little things.
It was the
Ah,
Castle and the Chancellery Guard, I would say. Commander and Castle. Right, I see. That's written a bit weird. But yeah, so anyway, he was in Doctor Who before he became.
obviously, I mean, that's one of the interesting things that Slade and Cake are talking about. You know, the one who waits.
That was Sutek.
That was Sutek.
That was Sutek. He was waiting. He was around the TARDIS all that time, spewing different Susan triads everywhere. That was the whole thing. Was him waiting.
Well, that's dumb. Anyway. Yes, Captain True. Karen Gillan was in Pompeii as well. Oh, it's interesting actually when you think about it. So you got a companion, a future companion, and a future Doctor in the same episode, from the point of when the episode was broadcast. How cool is that? But the thing is, right? The thing is, this show just needs to just take a break. It needs to just rest. Not so much be cancelled. I think it needs to rest. There's just been so much going on. You know, the Time Lords have been destroyed. They came back. They've been killed. They came back. They've been killed, and they've been obliterated into nothing, which wasn't really explained at all either.
Hang on. The thing is, Seeking, as Cody put earlier, why not just have an open-ended regeneration? Why is Billy there? If they've got to put the Doctor on hold, Doctor Who on hold, right? So we're gonna have a gap now where there's no episodes. If that has to happen, fine. But why did we need to see Billy then? Unless he intended for Billy to have episodes as the Doctor, I don't understand that choice.
Like a potential.
Are they just going to have her doing random things until they regenerate her again? It doesn't. Is it just going to be little mini specials with her as the Doctor?
It could be like Seeking just said. It could be marketing. You never know.
But if that's the case, it's just using her. I don't know. It's just it's. You could have any bugger do that. You know what I mean? It's just a fan.
The whole thing. Service. The whole thing's crazy. The whole thing is absolutely balmy. So
how do we get the viewers up? Get Billy Piper in quick.
So obviously the big question here now is, what's the future? Where's the future of Doctor Who going to go? Now, as I said, if Disney saw this as a lucrative business, they would have offered another contract. And if Bad Wolf turned down that contract, right, okay. There's no way they would have turned that down. No way, right? Impossible. If anyone does that, they're an idiot, right? So, obviously, it lies with the BBC to do so. But they've neither confirmed nor denied that the show is going to come back. Obviously, we know that there's not going to be a Christmas special this year. There isn't. Well, at least as far as I'm aware, anyway. I don't know. The way things are at the moment, something could pop up tomorrow, as far as I'm concerned. So you never know. So where does this go? Where does this end? Or where does it begin again, rather? Yes, could Doctor Who become a reboot? Could they reboot it? I mean,
I would love Doctor Who to be rebooted at this point. Well, it is so messed up.
They tried it with Paul McGann, didn't they? When they did the movie, because America were gonna try and take it over and kind of.
I have had a thought about this. I did a few weeks back think about this. I was thinking to myself, could they fix it with a hard reboot, completely block the show off and go, and we're starting again? If they do that, where do they start from? And where they pick where they start from, everything in between that start point and the new is being erased. So what are you going to say to all the writers and all the actors and all of that who was involved in that series that you've just chopped out? You're just going to hurt people. So they can't do that. They can't really hard reboot it. And if they do it by changing the law entirely and then never explaining it, that's going to mess fans up because they're going to go, well, no, I thought it worked like this. So you've got to explain
season one again.
That. So the whole thing is messed up. You can't do it without hurting someone.
Tell me why, mate.
It's just everything's messed up. The only thing you could do is split the reality and say this is now an alternative universe, and then that one that we were in is never happening again.
Oh, great. The multiverse.
But even that doesn't work everywhere.
Multiverse with Avengers. right? I'm sick of the multiverse. I hate the multiverse. The
I don't know.
multiverse was a fantastic concept, and now it's been used to explain everything nowadays in like Marvel and whatever. I'm sick of it. I am sick of the multiverse. I really am. I don't want another freaking Doctor Who multiverse. What's the magic? I really don't.
None of it makes any sense. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I don't know what she's
Thanks,
going to
but
do.
what can we do?
If I was in charge, what would I do? I have no idea at this point.
If I was in charge of this and I'd done all this, I'd be taking a holiday to Timbuktu and never coming back for quite a while. I'll be cutting myself off from the rest of the world and saying that's it. Oh God.
Dream crabs, yes, so you just have to wipe the whole thing. But again, that would hurt Chibnall. It would, whoever, say you picked a point in Doctor Who's history where you're going to say, right, we're going to reset from here, because you've got to do that. You can't just, what are you going to do? Wipe the entire canon and start Doctor Who from fresh? Again, you're wiping all that history and saying, now, look, we know that happened, but none of your stories matter anymore. It just, I don't know. Isn't that harmful to the Doctor Who community, making them all forget and start again?
Yeah, and I thought like
Brand new canon.
RTD was pally with Chibnall. You know, he's my friend.
Exactly, you can't hurt his friends, Jack. So I can't see him. I don't know. That's why I wouldn't have RTD as the writer, though. I'd change the writer at this point and change the whole
God, yeah.
team. Brand new team. But again, who would you take over? What are they going to do with it? Are they going to mess it up? Oh,
I'll be honest. I do also feel quite bad for the Bad Wolf crew.
Mm.
The actual crew, the people working on this show the last 2 years to obviously come about like this. I mean, what we've had 8 episodes in season 1 and 2, right? 8 in each. With
8 in the second. The first was
2 Christmas specials. So what, 10? You know, they built all these sets. They did all this stuff, and it's just
yes,
done.
it was 8.
Yeah,
8 for both.
and if you include the 2 specials, 10, and obviously the 60th stuff, so 13. You know, all that time and effort for 13 episodes, and now, you know, all the sets, all the props, everything. I mean, obviously, I know they get paid, that's fine, you know, but still, it would have been nice to carry on this sort of the level of quality in terms of production, visual effects. It would have been nice to continue this. By the way, the one thing I love about seasons 1 and 2 and everything is the title sequence. I love that title sequence. I love the theme, although the theme could do with changing the timing when the titles come in for the actors. That timing's been a bit off, and I've never really been much of a fan of that, but it's grown on me since. So who knows? Obviously, we've got the war between the land and the sea. Is that even the right title? I don't even know if I'm saying the right.
Yeah, and look, another thing about the war between the land and the sea as well, which I was just about to make a point of, is that so RTD's vision for RTD2's era was that we would have a Marvel-like world, a Hooniverse. That's why the Hooniverse thing at the start, right?
Yeah.
Which is fine. That's fine. But now you've seen all the viewing figures, you've seen how the show's landing. It's not landing very well, and Disney's like, okay, do we just stop now? So he's made this spin-off. Who's going to watch that? Okay, I might give it a go, but I'm not looking forward to it because it's not really Doctor Who. It's a spin-off. I've never been a fan of massive spin-offs like that. I don't know. But this might just be the end of it, because if Disney pulls out, well, he can't do the spin-offs anymore. BBC won't give him that kind of cash. So that's going to stop.
Oh, no.
So his idea's just gone out flying out the window. Goodbye to that.
Absolutely.
It's
And
just
did you see
waste
the
of money.
money?
I did, yeah. I had a little look. I didn't see the start of it.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but the Sea Devil, or at least one of the Sea Devils, looks very human-y.
Yes, they changed it again. I remember filming pictures. Hold on, let me just check that because I didn't see it properly.
Why?
What was it called? What was it?
The Mad War Land of Sea. the war between the land and the sea.
Right, thank you.
I was taking the P there.
Have they released it? Yeah, they have. Good. This is written very
Yeah, RTD had a lot more better luck during, as the brothers Mahoney said, RTD had a better luck during his first era with Torchwood and Sarah Jane. Yeah, War Between the Land and Sea ain't going to match that. No, I don't believe it will. Yeah, you're right. Seeking to have a universe, you need a great Doctor Who.
Oh, I'm assuming that means that a human must have mated with a sea devil.
I assume so. I don't quite understand the concept. So it's kind of like we're going back to the Zygons living amongst humans thing.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's like we're going back to that again
Me.
for some reason. No, it doesn't interest me either.
It's not really grasping me.
No, and it's gonna be like Class although I liked Class.
I did too. I was annoyed this stopped.
I liked where Class was going, and
again, the BBC can't afford to do that.
Stick with the cliffhanger, the cliffhanger in Class with the Weeping Angels.
Exactly. Damn it. Exactly.
That
annoyed about that.
Killed me. That did. Yeah, Seeking. Part of me liked Shooty in some ways for this as the Doctor. It's just RTD seemed to write him not well. Yeah, I'd love Torchwood to come back, Captain. I really would, but we all know the stance with John Barrowman, unfortunately.
I agree, brothers Mahoney.
Not against John Barrowman. I mean just like the whole situation with him. Whenever yeah. And the thing is, right? Obviously, we won't probably go into this bit too much, but obviously the Doctor Who has.
I agree, Malpence. Malpence?
Yeah, we didn't have time to connect with him at all. We didn't, and it's a shame. It is a shame, really. But if Russell could have done a much better job than he did, but he didn't. And the thing is, the show, at least in season 1 and 2, has felt like it's been trying to touch too much on our reality. The things like with the news, wars, politics, all that sort of stuff, which obviously we won't go into. But my point is that I miss the days where we could just use escapism as it was. I have not felt that feeling, not just in season 1 and 2, I'll be honest, through Jodie's time, and even like towards the end of Capaldi's run, that feeling of escapism has been lost, because the thing is with Doctor Who, more importantly with Doctor Who, is that the whole point of it is that we can escape our reality, get away from real life news, real life problems. Things are bad enough in our daily life. Well, in some of our daily lives, and we just want to escape from them, just temporarily. We just want to zip off to a faraway planet in the far, far future and do some crazy stuff, right? But we're not at the moment because, we're stuck in this sort of political agenda type thing, which, everyone's fine to have their own politics. That's perfectly fine. But it's just when it comes to science fiction and TV shows like Doctor Who, we need that escapism still, so we can just kind of disconnect from reality just temporarily. Just so, yes, sci-fi has always had a message, but I think those messages have always been...
It's how the message is portrayed. As I said, RTD1 did it fabulously, 2005 to 2009.
Yeah, he did.
Loved it.
He did.
And there were messages in that too.
Yeah.
But this one has not been done right. This is not how you write a message. And this is Doctor Who we're writing. You're not writing a random drama here. You're not writing EastEnders or Emmerdale or Coronation Street. You're writing Doctor Who. It has to be in that format. You need to write your message around the story, not the story around the message. There's a special way of doing it.
Yeah, too preachy, you're right, Seeking. Yeah.
It's
a shame. But the thing is, obviously, the one thing I always believe in, everyone's obviously entitled to their opinions. That's perfectly fine when it comes to shows, especially TV shows. It's a TV show at the end of the day, right? Mm-hmm. But yeah, when things become too preachy, you really do disconnect.
He's preaching to the choir, as I said earlier, because the majority of people who don't like this stuff have left, right? So the only people who are watching now are either the people like us where we're like, come on, we're hoping, and the other ones are just the ones who don't mind the preachiness. So he's preaching to the choir. He's making a point to nobody. Or nobody will listen anyway.
Yeah, like John, like John Cox said just there. Messages were like posting through a mailbox in RTD1 and then hitting you with a mailbox in RTD2.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. Bosh.
yeah. Mail. Oh, RTD1. I'm RTD2.
like what was it? Like the Sontaran who throws the. What was his name? The Sontaran in series 8. No, 9.
Oh, the goofy,
Oh,
friendly Sontaran.
What
What
was his
with
name?
Master and Jenny? Strax.
Strax. That was the one.
I love
Yeah.
Strax.
Because when he throws the newspaper up and it hits.
Ah, you know what? You're getting me all like nostalgic now because I'd really love to know what happened with Vastra, Jenny, and Strax.
But they're still knocking on. They're still knocking
Yeah,
about.
still back in the Victorian times. Yeah, God, that'd be a good spin-off. God, that'd be good. But hey, you know what? Apparently, people can't write that sort of stuff anymore.
Well, the
Oh,
BBC won't give them the money for it. So.
yeah, we've lost them completely. Anyway, I think we've babbled enough. So I think we're going to bring this to an end, guys. Thank you all so much for popping in and watching this. You know, it's been good to chat. It really has been good to chat about this. And you know, everyone who's been talking as well, it's been absolutely beautiful seeing your messages. It's good to hear thoughts from, you know, everyone. And you know, whether you really liked the show or didn't, that's not a problem. You know, you are well within your rights to like it and dislike it. So don't worry if you come in and say, but I really like this show. It was really good. I thought that's perfectly fine. Not a problem at all.
But you've got to be careful with these things anyway, because everyone has their own opinions. Everyone is an individual, right? That's the thing with humans, right? We all have our own opinions, and we are very vocal about them. Some of us not, but most of us are very vocal about them. But at the end of the day, if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. We just
show at the end of the day, you know,
we're just up and down about it at the moment because I'm constantly hopeful for Doctor Who. It is something that I was brought up on. I want to keep it going, but at the end of the day, some part of me does wish it had a little hiatus. Just let it have a break for a sec.
Yeah.
Regroup. Have a think. Is this really right? What we're doing? I don't know. It's very hard to answer because there are a lot of people who like it. You know, as someone said now, 1 million of them watching it. That is still a lot of people. It would upset them if we stopped it. So,
yeah, but who knows? Yeah. You never know.
I don't know.
Never know. So thanks again, everybody, for popping by. We do hope you enjoyed. And I don't know whether we'll be doing this again. This is sort of like a one-off thing. It's something we felt like we had to do. Maybe. Who knows? You know, life is uncertain. Things do happen when they do. So you never know.
Sorry for not going through season 1 as we originally intended on TSG.
Things have been going on.
Our real life as well has been quite hectic, but other than that, there wasn't really a lot we could say at the time, and we didn't really want to burn ourselves out going through it because it was up and down like a yo-yo. So we thought better not. Why don't for this season? Why don't we just do an overall? What do we think so far of RTD2? So don't know when we'll be back, guys.
Never say never.
No, we don't. Well, that's why we keep the channel going. We could delete everything, but we don't want to. We want to have the opportunity to say hello. We have views again. Would you like to say hello?
Yeah. So yes. So hopefully we'll come back one day. And so when we do hope to see you then too. So until the next time, we'll end with our OG catchphrase. So until next time, do remember.
Let your geek side out.
Geek side out.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone. Bye.